Heather Briggs of My So Quilty Live. Hi, Heather.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
So if you guys don't know, Heather is a brand new Moda fabric designer. She's been designing patterns for quite a long time, but her very first collection is Dainty Meadow. And then her first collection is Flower Girl. Her second collection is Dainty Meadow. And so today we get to do an awesome trunk show and talk to Heather and ask her all kinds of questions. So Heather, why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about you, how you started in the patterns, how you started quilting?
Yeah, so I'm Heather. For those that don't know me, I am the designer for My So Quilty Life, my brand. And as Kimberly just said, I'm a new Moda fabric designer. Oh, it's such a dream come true. I've been into quilting since 2017 is when I actually started with an English paper piecing project. That was my first quilt. And then in 2018, actually watching some of your tutorials, Kimberly, I learned
Oh,
how to machine piece. Yes, so I
awesome.
made my first machine pieced quilt, I believe at the end of 18, early 19. And then from there, I was just absolutely hooked.
Hooked.
I was in architecture school at the time, just about to graduate with my master's and go into the architecture field as an architectural designer. I've always loved to design. Like my whole
Mm-hmm.
life, that's all I wanted to do was design.
Mm-hmm.
And after working in the field for a couple of years, I kind of didn't feel like it was for me. I was
Mm-hmm.
quilting the whole time and I was like, oh my goodness, if I could just do something in this industry, that would be so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's such a wonderful industry to be in. Everybody's so amazing. And so I ended up leaving my full time job, just jumping off the ship and just diving straight into this. I started designing patterns in 2020, and my business was kind of like a pandemic business, just came out of COVID. So I
Mm-hmm.
was really looking at how I could stay at home with my son and be more present with my family and still do what I love. So that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of how all this happened. And it's just been crazy. I can't even believe it.
So how many patterns do you think you have now?
I have probably about 60 to 70 patterns. Not all under my brand, some under magazines and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. But yeah, so quite a bit, quite a bit.
That's awesome. So do you want to just jump right into the trunk show? And then by doing the
Yes,
trunk show, I think everybody will see like the vibe of your fabric, the vibe of your designs, and then
yes.
we can do questions kind of as we go. And as we go, I will try
Yeah,
to tell all of you guys the size of the pattern, if it's pre-cut friendly. And everything you see here is going to be online as paper and PDF, except her newer ones will only be PDF, but you can find
yes,
all of them at Fat
yes.
Quarter Shop. And Flower Girl did just arrive. It's her first collection, so it is
Yay.
online. I will tell you all the Fat Quarter bundles we have online. That's all we have. So once those are gone, we won't have any more because Moda sold out. So your
I
fabric has
know.
sold really well for a first designer.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I just can't even believe it. I didn't know what to expect, and
yeah,
I'm like, wow, I cannot believe people are just selling out of it, which is great. So I'm excited to
yes,
see everybody's stuff.
yes.
So I will get started. Let me move my chair. So, okay, so we're gonna start with the fabric. So I knew I wanted my collections to be kind of dainty, feminine, lots of florals, soft colors. I really love pastels. I love pinks. That is my favorite, all-time favorite color. With green and with sage green and yellow being my second favorite. They're almost my favorite. So when designing this line, I knew I wanted some beautiful florals, some dainty florals. So we have the Flower Girl in a cream into a tan. Love that. With the white on white being the beautiful little leaves, which I love so much. I don't know if you can see that, maybe. And then we have our yellows. Love yellows in a collection because I like to design a lot of flower quilts. And I just really love yellows in the center of flowers. So there's some of the yellow prints. I love how this collection can also be perceived as a baby collection. I've gotten a lot of that where the prints are just so soft. They work beautifully for a baby girl quilt, and I couldn't agree more. And then here are the greens. So that pretty sage green into the darker green.
Yeah, it's so
And
pretty.
oh, thank you. This collection also has a panel. So I got started in my first quilt, like I said, was an English paper piecing quilt. And I knew my customers don't really like to do a lot of applique or paper piecing. So I was like, oh, I've got to design this fun panel that you can just cut out and use. So I actually have some fun quilts where you do use this. And they're actually to scale to a 1.5 inch hexagon. So if you wanted to make it in paper piecing, it's just the 1.5 inch paper pieces. So love this, super cute. So cute. It was a lot of fun designing this. There's so many things that you can do with this collection in this panel. So I will start with my first quilt. This one is Granny's Daisies, and it was quilted by somebody you all know, Gina Tell of Thread Graffiti. Let's see.
Yeah, and if you guys want to contact Gina, her website is threadgraffiti.com.
And this quilt is 60 by 60. Everything is machine pieced. There is no applique. I get that question a lot if there is any applique in this. You got a really cute pieced border. And then there is a round corner template to make round corners. I don't know if you've ever done that, but they are so much fun. And they add something extra to a quilt. I just love them. It's super simple. And then you just make your bias binding, and it's so simple. And here's the backing. I used my favorite blooms, the multicolored blooms on a cream background, and then a white binding.
So let's talk about your binding and the corner. So the corner, if the template is super easy to read, it's in the pattern. And did you use bias so that it would go around the corner nicely?
I did. Bias binding on when you do any kind of round corners. Yeah.
And this one,
but it's super easy.
Fat quarter friendly, so it uses 16 fat quarters, so that makes it super easy for somebody if they have fat quarters in their stash.
Yes, I love this quilt. It kind of reminds me of like granny crochet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it looks pretty easy. It's just corner squares basically.
It is. I design probably almost all quilts with those snowballed corners or the corner squares. Mm-hmm. And I just love the effect that it gives the flowers. So without having applique or having to do curved piecing, I really love that. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think you're like talking specifically to me because I don't do either one of those things.
Well, no, I don't either. I love the look of it, but I don't have patience for one to sit there and do it. Although I like to think I do. So I'll start something and then I never get it finished. So I know my customer base is like me and they don't love doing those things, but you know what? I think they're beautiful. Okay. So this is Petal Patches. Let me make sure I get it the right way. This is a layer cake friendly quilt. And it is 62 inches by 62 inches.
And did Gina quilt that one also?
Oh, this one was quilted. I made a cheat sheet. This one was quilted by my friend Megan of Siren Stitching. So you've got your fun little flowers, and then you've got some patchwork as well. And this backing was the cross-hatched yellow print. And you can see that quilting nicely. They're like little tulips. So cute. And then the stripe binding as well.
And did you do machine binding or did you hand bind it down?
So I don't have patience, so I don't ever hardly anymore do hand binding.
Okay.
So I do. I don't know if we can see this.
But yeah, I can see it really well.
Stitch. Yeah. So I just stitch really close to that edge there. Yep.
Yeah, it looks really
I don't know.
Really nice.
Thank you. I prefer that way. I can get a lot done doing it that way, and I feel like it looks clean. Now, it might not look, timeless, but sometimes we just got to get stuff done, and that's kind of how I feel. All right. So the next one is super special. It is a Moda boxed kit, and I couldn't believe that Moda kitted this up. I was so excited. This is vintage stitching. It is a pixelated flower made to look like cross stitch.
This is my very favorite quilt of yours, all of them. I want to make it as a pillow at some point. I just haven't, but I definitely, when I saw that, was like, I have to make that one day.
Yes, thank you. And it is, let's see, there are two sizes. So this size is 60 by 78. It also has rounded corners, although even if a pattern comes with rounded corners, you don't actually have to do them. You can do them however you would like. But this one uses 1.5-inch strips to complete in a fun pixelated pattern. Let's see if I can get a better flower. That one's probably, there we go. There we go. Yeah. I love this. The roses are so pretty. And I don't know, up there, let's see. Somewhere.
Yep, you can see
there.
her.
That's
Right there.
the pillow. Yeah.
Can
I
we see
made that
the
for
back?
market because, yes, this is the back. So this is the main floral print on the cream background. Let me see, kind of a glare there. And again, I did machine binding. So put it down there on the machine. Curved corners. Yep. And again, it's a Moda boxed kit. And I have a kit up there. It's going to stay up there forever. Just, you know, just decorate with it. And then the crib quilt, it uses 2.5-inch strips to make a larger flowers. This is perfect for a quick baby quilt. Let's see if I can hold it up.
Oh, I love the quilting.
There
on
we
that.
go. So Gina did this one. I asked for
that.
a crosshatch, kind of like she did the pillow crosshatch as well. So Gina did this one as well, and I think it is just so cute. And I also did the cream floral background.
And we do have the throw kit in stock. So that's great. We have the kit in stock.
Yay! Good.
And all
Okay,
of
the
these,
next
we
one-
have the patterns for all of these. For everyone asking, we have the patterns available as paper and PDF.
Yes. So the next one is Sweet Spools. It is 67 by 75, and it uses the panel, so that hexagon panel flowers, and then it also has bows. I love to make quilts with bows. Anything cute, anything pink, I'm all about it. Okay, so let me see. We'll get this up right. This is Sweet Spools.
So point to the
uses
part
the
that's the
panel.
panel in case somebody just joined in and didn't see the panel. It's basically a
So
cheater
this block-
cloth.
Yes, so this block, I don't know if there,
Right.
focus.
Yep.
I just cut it out. Just cut out the block and then put it in. Super simple. This is a beginner quilt. And then here are the bows. So those are just pretty easy to make as well. This one's been a lot of fun. I've seen some people kitting it up and making it in a different colored background. I couldn't decide. I went with the sage because I love sage, but I really love it in yellow and pink as well. So this is that one. And then the backing is the yellow floral, the yellow main floral. And then I just did the white machine binding. So, yeah.
I love white
Love
binding.
this one. I do too. I did it a few years ago on a quilt that was a pink background that I'll show later. And I wasn't sure about it. And I think I remember hearing you talk about on one of your live streams that you didn't know. And I was like, oh, I should try it. And I did, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So I've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that like you don't think will look good. And then once you do it, you're like, oh my gosh, I've been missing this my whole life.
Yes, exactly. The next one is Baskets and Bows. This was quilted by my friend Janelle Corley of Quilting with Love, and I didn't piece it. My friend Jolie Sisney, hello Jolie if you're watching, made this one for me because there are so many quilts to make. I can't make all of them.
Oh, yes.
So this is called Basket and Bows. These are baskets. This is a perfect little Easter quilt. I just think it is so cute. And this uses, let's see, 16 fat eighths to make. So a lot of fun mixing and matching your baskets with your bows. On this one, I did just a plain white background. I do that a lot, especially on my earlier patterns. There's just something about a white background that I just love. It feels classic, and sometimes I don't want to piece my backing, so I'll just buy a 108 and just slap it up there. And I'm terrible at labeling my quilts. Sometimes I'll just get like a little friction marker or permanent marker and write Heather Briggs in the ear.
Oh my gosh.
So, yes, it's pretty funny. This one actually doesn't have anything on it, so I need to get something on it. Okay, and let's see, the last, or one of the last ones. I made a lot of quilts with this collection. I just couldn't stop designing. There were just so many things I could do. Okay, so this one is called Garden Gate. It was quilted by Gina Tell, and it is a, let's see, a jelly roll quilt. So a jelly roll in a background. You can make this quilt. So it's pretty.
And that's all corner squares, super easy.
It is, yep. All corner squares.
The layout looks on point, but it's not on point. It's all straight setting. So those are actually just like blocks next to blocks, and so it looks harder than it is.
Yep. I think the hardest part is just making sure you're matching up those seams right there. That's it. Not hard at all. And again, I did a white back. And I love the quilting on this one because Gina and I found a panto that looked so similar to the quilt. I love it. It's so pretty.
Yeah, I like that panto too. I don't think I've used it before.
Oh, I love it. I don't remember the name, but Gina obviously knows. So, and then a machine pink binding on this one.
And that one is 71 inches square.
Yes, thank you. Kind of big. All right. And the last quilt I have for Flower Girl is, oh my goodness, I love this quilt so much. This is a labor of love for me and a long time coming. I've been wanting to make a quilt like this for a very long time. So this is called Flower Stand. Oh my goodness, she's so pretty. And you showed it on the live stream a few months ago.
Yes, I love it. I'm like, it's one of those things that I want to make. I just haven't fit it in my schedule, but I absolutely love it. And so if people signed up for the block of the month through us, it did sell out. You're going to get your first shipment next week. It's going to start shipping, and then we will be selling the panel that she's about to describe separately once it ships to club members. And so if you didn't get in on the block of the month, you can always buy the pattern separately.
Yes, so this has 12 different blocks, and it's going to be a block of the month starting in a week. It'll last till October, and then we'll do a fun little celebration to celebrate everybody's progress. It comes in 6 different sealed envelopes. This is like the fun part. I love creating experiences for people. I tried to think if I was in a block of the month, what would I want? So there are 6 sealed envelopes labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it comes with the block patterns, some free goodies, giveaways along the way. We're doing bingo the whole time. I have little bingo cards in there that you can mark off for giveaways and just fun things. And we also have some golden tickets. There are 42 golden tickets out there. So I hope that you're a lucky one to get one. And it starts next Friday, 1 week from today, and I'll have a ton of video tutorials going over the blocks, going over the hand embroidery. And like Kimberly said, I did create a panel. This is all hand embroidered, all these little words. So you don't have to do that. You could either put a piece of fabric in place of that. You could write with a permanent marker, or Kimberly has pre-printed panels on their website, and you can either hand embroider over that, or you can just sew it into your quilt. Easy peasy. I got a lot of feedback on that. Everybody was telling me, oh no, I don't like to hand embroider. And I'm like, well, you don't have to. I'll create something. So that's what I did. So this pretty girl starts soon. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then I used the cream multicolored background. And then I just did machine binding with the stripe of the collection. So yes.
And so the rest of the quilt is all pieced except those little sections, correct?
Yes, everything is machine pieced. The only thing is the hand embroidery on the letters, but nothing else is embroidered or appliqued or anything. So,
okay, and it's 64 inches square.
Yes, correct. And I get to make it again because so funny story, I got this done for market. And I was standing there when nobody was in my booth for a minute. And I look up and I'm like, there's a mistake. There is a mistake in my quilt. Oh my goodness. There's a mistake. I don't know if you caught it. Right here, I sewed the little bracket upside down. No, on this side. This side. The bracket is upside down. So on the next one I make for all my videos, I'm going to make sure that's right this time.
Oh, I can't even tell.
Oh my goodness. I know. That's why I was like, it's totally fine. My husband was like, you should pick it out and you should redo it. I'm like, I'm not. This was a lot of work. I'm not. It's just, you know, something to laugh about. It's a fun memory for me now. So, and then let's see. We do have something fun with the Flower Girl collection. We have a thread box from Arfil. So I'm so excited. I designed this super cute box to go with it that matches my collection. And Fat Quarter Shop has these online, so you can pick one up. It has all the matching colors in 50 weight thread. And then one spool is specifically a 40 count or 40 weight. I like to English paper piece, and my funny story is that I walked into a shop looking for, you know, the orange spool, and they didn't have any, so I bought the green spool, not knowing it was any different. So I was like, oh, I'll just use that. Why not? So I was English paper piecing my first quilt, and I decided, oh, I'll just use this. And it worked great. And I really love the thickness of the thread to hold together the English paper piecing. So I wanted to include this fun little green spool in the box so that you can try it, something different. And then all of the spools kind of, I don't know if we can show that, kind of coordinate with the collection. We've got some pinks, peaches, greens, yellows, sages, and then the white I like to use is a 2021. So this is so much fun. I love it so much. And at Market, to help promote that, I had everybody make me some hexagons English paper piecing, and I'm putting together a Flower Girl English paper pieced quilt just to kind of remember like why I got into quilting was English paper piecing. And everybody was signing the backs of these. And then I also had everybody at Market, I made a back just to kind of remember my first Market. And I had everybody that made me a hexagon sign the back of my quilt. So I'm so excited. It's going to take me a long time to get this done, but let's see if I can get it open. Let's see if it'll be the right way. Yes. Okay. So it says my first quilt Market. This will be the back of the English paper quilt. 2023 Houston. And all those signatures, you can kind of see them.
I love that.
I thought that was so fun. Isn't that fun? I can't wait to get it done. And then I'll just be able to remember like my first Market, everybody that came and congratulated me and gave me well wishes. It's just a lot of fun. And those are the letters from Lisa Bonjean's. Can't remember her alphabet, but Moda did that Christmas sew along with all the fun words. Those are the letters from that pattern. Okay, let's see. Did I miss anything from Flower Girl? I think I got everything. So now we can move on to Dainty Meadow, unless you have something to show.
Oh, okay. So I have a couple of quilts to show you from Flower Girl. So This first one is our Jolly Bar. So we made a Jolly Bar from your collection. So this pattern only comes in the Jolly Bar. It's called Posies. It was designed by Angel. We put a yellow backing and a green binding. I did want to point out that any of you who want to do bias binding would look really good with this. So that's our first quilt. Our second quilt is Alpine Blooms, designed by Crystal, and this is an It's So Emma pattern that has 4 size options. So you can make it in crib, lap, twin, or queen, and they're all fat quarter friendly. And this one and the other one, we use the white on white from the collection. I did want to point out that the white on white from the collection we sell as full bolts. But I did want to point out that on the back of your patterns, if you're not using white on white, you recommend color 182 Bella. Because I know people are going to ask. So, and then this is where the blocks start and end. And then here's the backing. We love that floral. And of course, we love the stripe. And then I have been making my Moda blockhead blocks with Flower Girl.
Oh,
so these
so
are just
fun.
Yeah, so these are just some of them, and I'm going to talk in more detail next week for everybody because I have made a decision on my setting and what I'm going to do with these and how I'm going to set them. So that'll be next week. But I did finish all the blocks that I'm going to do, so super exciting. And I know mine look a little bit different than yours. So I was kind of curious to see, like, when I made mine, were mine going to look like yours? but they ended up not looking like yours. I just want to, I don't ever
Yes,
want anything to look too matchy. And then
yeah, and I'm actually, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm really behind on my blockheads, so I've only got like the first 5 blocks done.
Oh, that's funny. These are my temperature quilt blocks, and so they're not in any particular order. I know this one is February, but I'm also using Flower Girl for that. And then, so you can tell I must love your fabric or something. Then I decided I'm going to make, and I'm going to talk more about this next week in my live stream, but I decided my next Scrappy Strings is going to be a mix of all of your collections. So these are the Flower Girl blocks.
Goodness.
They look better if I pointed them the right way. So those are Flower Girl.
They look so good.
And then this is Dainty Meadow. And I was going to kind of put them next to each other. The biggest difference in the collections is the addition of the blue to your second collection.
Yes.
Let's see. So if you put them next to each other, and that's what I'll be doing, is every time you come out with a collection, make 4 or 5 blocks from it, and then I'll just mix and match them.
So you're gonna give me this quilt, right?
No! No, but it's interesting because on the Flower Girl, I was able to get 6 blocks, but on Dainty Meadow, I was only able to get 5. So I'm not sure why, but basically my goal is to get as many as I can so that I can have a quilt quicker. And this is using Lori Holt's pattern from Scrappiness is Happiness. Okay.
I'm going to have to copy you.
They're so cute. Yeah, and I love the foundation. I don't know, it just adds like texture and it makes it so they're not floppy. I don't know, I just love them. So.
Wow.
Okay. So now we're going to go back to your trunk show. Sorry.
Okay.
I had to show my
No, you're fine. I love seeing everything you're working on. I'm always stalking your Instagram and being like, okay, when is she going to post her blocks? What is she working on now? I just love it. I'm like, oh my gosh, Kimberly's making something with my collection. It is so cool. Okay, now we're going to talk about Dainty Meadow. Dainty Meadow is now showing to shops. So it's not available in shops yet, but make sure you get your pre-orders in so Kimberly knows how much to order and that we don't sell out right away, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my second collection with Moda. So for this collection, I knew I wanted to add some of the same similar colors, but maybe take it a little brighter and add some blue. I got a lot of requests for blue and I thought, if you only knew what's coming. So this is the cream colorway. I love it. And the white on white is like a polka dot with a little flower. I don't know if we'll be able to see that, but it is so pretty. Love it. This collection has a lot of low volumes. I love low volumes. I used to not know how to use them. Now I use them in sashings, backgrounds, borders, wherever I can, and sometimes in a block to highlight something else. So lots of beautiful, multicolored, low volumes, so much color in this collection, and then a tan colorway at the bottom with a beautiful kind of scalloped stripe. Love that. So pretty. Okay, so that is the cream and tan colorway. The next colorway is the yellow. So just a couple yellows in this collection. I wanted more, but I had to, stick to a certain amount here. I love yellows, so just some fun little yellows. And then the pink colorway. So we've got some light pinks into medium into like a corally pink down here. So when I was designing this collection, I knew I wanted a patriotic quilt out of it. So I can't wait to show you what I designed. And here are some almost like a sage green, but more of like a grassy celery green, and then into a darker green here. I love this doodle print. I was drawing. Actually, I designed this entire collection the moment I found out I was a Moda designer. It was over Thanksgiving of 2022. Yes. And so I was just like, oh my goodness, this is happening. I'm going to draw all weekend. So I actually made these pretty doodles and I just think they're so beautiful. Love them. And then the last colorway is those blues, those beautiful blues. So we've got a light blue into a little bit of a darker blue here. And I love the main floral. It was so fun to design this one. So pretty. Okay.
Yeah,
Now let's show
I
some
love the
quilts.
blue, and I love how the second collection, the pink and the peach, are similar yet different, so they go together, but they're not
Yes.
so matchy matchy, because then it's going to give all the quilts like more depth.
Yes, that's my goal. I want them to have the same soft, feminine, almost faded feel, but I want each collection to be a little bit different. So my first pattern from this one is called So Smitten, and it has two versions, one with a heart and one with a star. Now, I don't know if you know, but I moved in March to a new home, and then I also went and taught on a cruise. And so the time I had to make all my quilts there was no time. So you know what? We're just going with it, and I have quilt tops and some quilts, but nothing has been, the binding is not on anything, which, you know what? This is real life, guys. This happens, and we're just going with it. So this is my So Smitten. This is 56 by 56, and it is a jelly roll quilt. So you can make this using a jelly roll with some background. So those are little hearts in the middle, snowballed with some 9 patches. I love this quilt. It is so pretty. All the colors just mix so beautifully. Oh my goodness. This is probably my favorite, one of them.
What color do you think you're going to put on the back?
I am going to use, it's definitely, I think it's the multicolor. I think this is the one that I have specified. So this fun multicolor. Yeah. I know, so I can't show the backing or the binding, but this one gets rounded corners as well once it's done. I'll be sure to post all my progress on social media, which has been kind of fun. You know, when we're making these quilts behind the scenes, we got to be, you know, quiet about them, and it's been fun to kind of share them along the way of what I'm working on. So there's the heart version. Now I had my friend Jolie make the star version, and I told you I loved the blues and the pinks. I wanted a patriotic version quilt, and so she made this one for me with all the stars. Kind of hard to see with my glare. And then Gina Tell quilted this one for me, and the backing is the light blue doodle. So it's so pretty. I don't know if it's gonna pick up, but oh, I love it. And those stars, so pretty.
Yeah, you can see it really good right there.
Yes, so I'll do some rounded corners on these. Love to do rounded corners because then I don't have to worry about my mitered edges. So, okay, so that is So Smitten. Love that one. So pretty. The next one is a layer cake quilt. It is called Flower Locket, and it uses, let's see, it is 64 by 70. That's what I was looking for, and I'm upside down. Okay. This one also gets rounded corners when I make them. It's kind of hard to see right now. The quilting is definitely taking over in that background. This was quilted by my friend Francine from Buffalo Flats Quilt Co. So that's this one. It looks kind of like a locket, the little flower inside of the kind of, let's see. Can we get some? There we go. Okay. So it's fun. You get to pick like which layer cakes you want for the top and which layer cake squares you want for the bottom and mix and match. I loved making this one, and it has a fun tulip quilting design and then the multicolored background.
Do you know what binding you're going to put on those?
Yes, I have it right here. I'm going to do a pink binding, so I'm going to do the stripe, the pink stripe, and it'll look really good on bias. So this pink stripe, it'll look really good on bias. So,
and it's
what I'm using for that one.
64 by 70.
Yes. So that is Flower Locket.
Layer cake friendly.
Yes. I tried to make sure I could design with every collection some pre-cut quilts because I know it's so much fun to just grab a layer cake and just go to town. So this one is called Flutter and Fly. It is not quilted, but it will be soon. It is 74 inches by 74 inches, and it uses 16 fat quarters, as well as some of the low volumes. So this one I had a lot of fun with those low volumes.
And this quilt has a mini butterfly pattern. That's 3.5 by 4.5, so you get a bonus block in your pattern.
Yes, because these, to make those outlined butterflies like this, you do waste a little bit of fabric. And I'm like, okay, we have a lot of scraps here. What can we do? So I actually have a little butterfly here. So this is what it'll look like. Little butterfly block. So you just take your scraps and you just make this little butterfly. And you can make as many as you want. It's so fun. So fun. But yes, this one, you can see those low volumes inside the butterflies. And then as the border is in sashing. I love this quilt. It's so soft, so beautiful. I used the light pink kind of all over flower to make the border. And this one is getting the main blue floral as the background. So I can't wait to get it quilted. It's so pretty. Oh, so pretty. I wish you guys were here in person. You could see all this in person. Okay, the next one is one of my favorites. It is called Twirl and Twist. It is 72 inches by 72 inches. It is a layer cake quilt and quilted by Francine of Buffalo Flats Quilt Co. So you've got your pinwheels and you make two different units, and then together you cut them at a diagonal to make those pinwheels. And then you just alternate how you place them. It's so pretty. I love it. I love it. This was a lot of fun. I don't do a lot of quilts that aren't flowers. So this has, besides the fabric and the quilting, no flowers. So this was a lot of fun. I might have to do more geometric pinwheel stars patterns. So we'll see. And then this is the background, that multicolored floral. This is probably one of my favorite prints from the entire collection. It is so pretty. I use it on a lot of backings.
I did want to talk about the block. The block is kind of made, you know, you make kind of like rectangles and then you do it as a half square triangle unit. So it's looks harder than it is.
Yes, correct. You have a square. So this was a square, and then you kind of do some rows of background, and then you sew together 4 strips of the layer cake, and then you cut both of them at a diagonal and you sew them together. Super simple. So that's Twirl and Twist. I keep getting it mixed up. I keep wanting to call it Twist and Twirl. I don't know why I did that to myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to just call it both. The next one is so sweet. I don't know if you'll be able to see it really good on the live stream, but this is called Daisy Chain 2. My most popular of all time pattern is called Daisy Chain. And I kept getting a lot of requests to turn it into a baby quilt, but the blocks in the way I designed it didn't really allow you to take away blocks to make it smaller. So I knew I had to make a Daisy Chain 2. And this way, all the blocks are the same size. So you can take away or add to make it bigger, take away the rows, take away some blocks to make it smaller. So this specific throw quilt is 63 by 74, and it does use yardage to make these.
And kind of point to the 2 small daisies so people can see the little mini daisies. It's hard to see.
So the blocks in the...
Yeah.
Oh.
So go ahead.
Go ahead. So the blocks have a larger daisy. Let's see if I can get one. There we go. That's the larger. You kind of see the yellow. My lighting is right there. Okay, you see the daisy. Then underneath it is a stem block, and it has 2 small daisies. Can you see that good?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. And then the back of the quilt, I used the same background. I thought that would be beautiful. I'm also going to use the same binding as the background. And then we've got a beautiful floral panto here. And this was quilted by Gina and actually made by Jolie. Awesome. Jolie helps me make a lot of my samples because I just can't keep up. So the cutting instructions to make the crib size quilt is in the pattern. Okay, that's all I have for the Dainty Meadow quilts. Besides Sweet Strawberry is not made yet. They have a pop-up. Let's see. I put the pattern somewhere. Here we go. So this is Sweet Strawberry. So pretty. I cannot wait to finish this. This is 78 by 93. It is a large throw quilt, and it uses yardage, all the different pinks and greens from the collection. I just love this so much. And then I love to do a fun pieced border when I can, and this is just a lot of fun. A great way to use up those extra scraps that you used making the blocks. So that is Sweet Strawberry.
And it looks like you're going to have a green binding on that one.
I am, yes, yes. I really love, so the green I'll be using for the backing and the binding is that one. It's got pink and then coral and then the light green. It is so beautiful. I love this print. I love all the prints, but those ones are just my favorite. And then the last quilt is we're going to do another block of the month. So the flower shop I designed, and they have a pop-up picture. I'll be making it in a couple of weeks. This block of the month will start in November and run till about April. So there's Flower Shop. It does have some applique. It's optional. The little flags kind of going over the awning are applique, just a way for you to use up a little bit of your scraps. And then there is some hand embroidery, which I will have another panel for you. And then the lattice down below is actually super simple. You just sew together squares and rectangles, and then I show you in the pattern exactly where to cut. So you're not having to do much on point piecing or anything like that. So we've got some fun flowers, some cute little watering can, and it's just so cute, and I cannot wait to start it. And I know Kimberly and Fat Quarter Shop have kits available as well. So make sure you get one because they're probably going to sell out pretty quickly because this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one where you're selling as a complete kit. The first block of the month we did monthly, and then this one we did more as a complete kit. So we did it different each time.
Yes. Yes. And so this one actually uses a layer cake and some yardage to complete with the background print, 9900 182, which is porcelain, which is really what matches my collections. And for this one, we're going to try it a little bit differently to try to accommodate more people. We're not going to have the envelopes every month. We're going to do something totally different. So I have that information over on my blog, but I'll be sure in the summer to kind of show what we're going to do for the block of the month experience. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to make it.
Yeah, me too. It's so pretty.
Are you going to make that one, Kimberly?
I'm going to try. I'm going to try to fit it in. The only thing is I just don't know if I'll do the applique pieces that are the little pennants. I'll probably leave that off. Yes. It's really cute, unless I can pay someone to do it for me.
I made a mock-up without it, and it's still just as cute. You could add anything. You could do lace. You could just, I mean, whatever anybody wants to do. They don't have to do the applique, and that's kind of why I love quilting so much, is you can definitely take your quilting liberty and kind of do whatever you want, however you want it to look. So that's all for Dainty Meadow, but I know that you guys have some things.
No, we don't. We have your next top 10 patterns.
Okay. I didn't know if you had a Jolly Bar or anything.
Oh, we don't have a sample yet. We are waiting on one. But we are going to have a Jolly Bar for that collection as well.
And the pattern is so cute. I saw it online. I actually bought the Jolly Bar for the Flower Girl collection because I love that pattern so much. So I can't wait to get that in. Okay. Do you want me to move on to my top 10?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So before I became a fabric designer, I designed patterns, and I made a lot of floral quilts. I love floral quilts, and I wanted to show my top 10 favorites. So we're going to show those. So the first one is Tidy Up Tulip. It is 47.5 by 59.5, and you can make it bigger if you would like. And I mentioned I love bows, so we've got some cute little tulips with bows. Oh my goodness. This is using Corey Yoder's fabric collections. I believe it was Canning Day. If I'm not mistaken, I used all of the yellows and the pinks and the greens from there. There might be some strawberry jam in there. I might have used strawberry jam. Yes, I used strawberry jam for the green. I love Corey's prints. I would always design a Corey quilt, is what I like to call it. With every new fabric collection she would do, I would design my Corey quilt. And this was one of my Corey quilts. This just uses, I believe, some yardage. Uses some 10-inch squares and some yardage. So Tidy Up Tulip. And I quilted this one myself. I have a Juki, so I do a lot of free motion quilting. So I just did an all over kind of, I tried to attempt some flower and some leaves. I did a white background again because I love white backgrounds and I like to use 108 when I can. And I did a fun green checkered border or a binding. That one. This is so fun to like remember all these fun quilts.
And this one's just really
Okay.
corner squares, so it's definitely, I would say, beginning to intermediate.
Yes, yes. Everything, all my flowers are just corner squares. Okay, so here's the story. I like star quilts, but my points, I always cut them off. Well, not now, but I did. So I was like, well, if I make a flower, my points don't have to, I'm not going to cut off my points because you kind of already do with the corner squares. And so that's why I was so much more attracted to making floral quilts, besides that I love flowers, was I never have to have points.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about my points. Okay, so this is daisy chain. So the original daisy chain. So I showed you daisy chain 2. This is daisy chain 1, or daisy chain. And I used Bella Solids for this one. She's a big girl. She is hard to make anything lower. She is 77 by 98 inches. And there are several different types of flowers. You got a daisy, you got a smaller daisy, and then in the stems, you've got little daisies, kind of like the daisy chain 2 quilt. So all these blocks are different sizes. And then here we go, an up close of my daisy. And that daisy is super simple to make. You actually sew some rectangles together and then you just cut it on point to get that corner.
And so this
And
version
this one
has
was-
a twin size, table runner size, and mini size.
A mini quilt. Yes. This was quilted by Megan of Siren Stitching, and then we also did a white back and a white binding. This was the first white binding I ever did. So I thought it added something different to frame the quilt, having that white versus being pink like the background. So this is Daisy Chain. She is so long. Okay, so the next one is my probably all-time favorite quilt that I've ever made. It's a Corey quilt. So this is Sunflower Stand. When she came out with her Buttercup and Slate line, I was in love. Love yellow, and I knew I had to make something with sunflowers. So this quilt is a big one. It's 84 by 84. And it is set on point, but it's super simple to set it on point. I don't know, can we see all that? Yes, there we go. So these are fun sunflowers with just corner squares and some fun stems with some smaller flowers. So pretty. Thanks, Corey, for making beautiful fabric collections. Oh, I love Corey so much.
Yeah, that
this
was
one
a really
I quilted.
popular collection.
It was, yes. It was my favorite. I did a fun pieced border. Frames it very nicely. And I quilted this one. I don't know how. It was so big. My shoulders were killing me after I quilted it. But sometimes I would get into a pinch, a time crunch, and I wouldn't be able to send it to a quilter. So I would just suck it up and quilt it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like a floral with a leaf on my free motion Juki. And then I just matched the border with my binding here. So, yeah. Love this one. And this has a, I believe it has another size in there, but I'm not sure. Love this quilt. This is actually in my living room displayed on a quilt ladder. So my next quilt is called Blooming Bouquet. It is done in all Bella Solids and it is just gorgeous. I love the pink background. It is 80 by 80 and there are several different blocks in here.
And on this one, on the back of the pattern, she lists the Bella Solid numbers.
Yes. So we've got some daisies and we've got some other flowers. I don't really know what to call them. They're just flowers. And then Gina Tell quilted this one for me with an all-over floral. And then we did a white backing. I just love the white backing. It's so pretty. And then I just matched the binding like the background here. So, yes. Love this quilt. This one's in my guest bedroom because it's just so beautiful. And I used to be kind of scared to work with solids, but I don't know what happened. I just enjoyed working with them. They just make some of the blocks just pop so well.
Yeah, I feel like especially if you're a beginner, it's easier to start picking fabrics that are solids than it is to work with a collection.
Yes, and on that one I started with the background because I have people that ask me that. I started with the background pink, and then I used my Bella color card to look at what other colors, and I actually cut that up. I have two. I cut that up and I did like individual swatches. I kind of glued it on a piece of cardstock so that I could see them separated, because sometimes it's hard to be like, okay, I like this pink, but I like this blue over here, but do they really look good together? So definitely recommend cut up that Bella color card and glue them with the item numbers. Don't forget to put the item numbers on there.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a Corey quilt. So this was her sun-washed collection. Right here. This is called Cottage Charm. And it is 83 by 83 inches. Just something about a bigger quilt that I just love to just snuggle up in. This is all corner squares. No applique. All machine piecing. Beautiful. I love this one. I did rounded corners on this one as well. Gina Tell quilted this one. We did a white background or white backing. And then I just used it's like a plus print from her collection. It's like the peachy pink one. So that was fun. This one was a lot of fun to make. There was just so many different flowers and I just loved it. Love my Corey quilts. Okay, the next one is so special to me because my son and I actually made it and designed it together. So over the summer, I said we should do a fun special project together, and we chose to design a quilt. So I showed him how the whole process works, from picking colors to designing a block, brainstorming how the quilt layout would look, and then putting it into the computer, writing the pattern, making the blocks, which was not his favorite part, and then how we get it out there with photography, with promotion. So I wanted to show him like the whole process. So we are a baseball family. We love baseball. So my son and I, we designed Baseball Star.
And it's super easy. Like looking the baseball, the red lines, they're just a half square triangle with a corner square on them. So it looks more intimidating than it is.
Correct. No applique, just all piecing. And I don't know if you can see it, but we've got home plates right there in between. We got a secondary pattern going on with the home plates. So we thought that was really cool. And we finished this quilt just in time. If you're a baseball fan, he got invited to play at Cooperstown, New York, which is near the Baseball Hall of Fame. And we were like, oh my goodness, we've got to get this quilt done so we can take pictures there. So we did. We rushed. I mean, it was a lot of work to get it done. But we got it done and we took pictures there, and we have something fun to remember it. And I quilted it, although I made him sew one row so he could learn quilting. I just quilted it with a crosshatch, and then he picked this backing out. And it is little stars, and it is so beautiful. If you hold it up to the window, the front sparkles. It is so beautiful. And my son and I knew we wanted to donate some of the proceeds to a charity or organization. So we picked the Cavalier House and donated over $700 in school supplies to them. So we went to the store and picked out a ton of school supplies and dropped it off and donated. And I wanted to kind of show him, like, you know, it's wonderful to make money, but it's also wonderful to donate to organizations that need it. And they were so thankful, and it just made me tear up because we did it together. And it was so fun watching him go down the aisles, and we didn't even plan on buying book bags or pencil keepers. We just thought we would buy a bunch of school supplies, but he just had so much fun. He was just like, Mom, can we get this and this? And I'm like, sure. Like, we definitely overblew our budget, but it didn't matter at the end of the day. We just wanted to support that organization.
And the Bella solids for the baseball quilt are on the back of the pattern.
Correct. Yes. I try to do that. I try to put what SKU numbers I used, and then if it's a Bella solid, do those SKUs as well. So this is a Corey quilt. Surprise! This is called Pumpkin Pickin', It is 80 by 80, and it has a throw size crib and a table runner. So this was using her, oh my goodness, I'm going to forget her line here. It was the fall line that she did. Let me look. Oh, Cozy Up. How could I forget? Look, I forgot her line. So this is Cozy Up, or this is Pumpkin Pickin' and Cozy Up. So this was a lot of fun. Lots of different blocks to make with the pumpkins and the flowers. It was so fun. And this was quilted by Megan, Siren Stitching, with some pumpkins and sunflower panto. And we've got a white back here. And I haven't put the binding on. I lost my binding probably like 4 moves ago. We moved a ton. We probably moved, I would say 15 different times in the past 10 years. And we're finally, hopefully, in our forever or for a while home. But I can't find the binding I was going to use. So I either need to buy something else or, you know, pick something else. But it needs to get done because I want to have it on my couch for display for the fall. Okay. So the next one is called Snow Social. And it has snowmen with bows. Ah, so cute. So adorable. This one is 60 by 64, and it has 4 different snow women and men blocks, and they have little bow ties and little bows. And then I have in the instructions for some eyes, I just used felt and then a piece of fabric that I raw edged sewed on. I guess you could call it applique on. And then I stitched some buttons on. This one was a lot of fun, and I used a Bella Solid background. I believe the SKU, nope, the SKU's not on the back of that one, but I believe it was called Aqua. And then I used a bunch of different low volume and white on white prints for the snowman, and some just prints from my stash. I quilted this one with an all over meander on my Juki, and then I have this red snowflake background on it, just for a pop of color with a white binding.
And there are a Snow Social pillow mini quilt pattern
Yes.
that is available on your website.
Yes. Because sometimes these are 4 different blocks. So when you write a pattern, it ends up to be like 15 pages. There just wasn't enough without, you know, turning it into a book to put all those extra settings in there. So, and then my next one is the Prissy Patch. And I actually gave it to my neighbor. So here is this one. This is 80 by 88, and it uses the Kitty Corn collection from Urban Chicks for Moda, and it's 16 fat quarters, and then some border and pumpkin stem fabric. My neighbor for Quilt Market made me a cute little flower cart. And I said, well, can I pay you? And he's like, no. And I was like, can I give you a quilt? And he says, yes. So he picked that one. The husband and wife, Karen and Jim, picked that one. So they have that one. My next one is Ginger and Jolly. And it is a gingerbread quilt. And it is 68 by 75. I love this quilt. Lisa Alexander bought this quilt for me. So she has it, and she teases me with cute little baby pictures of her grandchildren on it, and it makes me so jealous.
Aww.
So that one is Ginger and Jolly. Okay, I believe those are all the quilts that I have to show.
Awesome. So we're going to do a Q&A. And
Okay, yeah.
The first question I can tell you is they want to know about that crochet blanket right there. They want to know if you have a pattern, what thread you used.
So my mother made this for me as a birthday present to bring to market to put in my booth. I don't know the pattern off the top of my head, but I know she altered it. It was supposed to have, I believe, some green leaves behind the flowers. But I can definitely post about this and give everybody the pattern. And I don't know exactly the thread, but she matched my collection. So yeah, I love this. This is so pretty. This was probably the highlight of my quilt booth. Everybody that came in was like, ooh, we want that. And I'm like, well, don't you want the quilts too? So, okay.
So I'm going to start with the questions that came in beforehand and then move to the questions that are coming in. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and put them in so I can make sure I get to them. The first question we got on social media was that she loves Flower Girl. She's been waiting to see what it looks like forever and for it to release. She bought the layer cake. She wants to know what your inspiration for the Flower Girl collection was and what else you have planned.
Oh, yes. So my inspiration, so Flower Girl was actually a portfolio collection. This was pre getting signed on with Moda. I was just trying to build my portfolio, and I knew I wanted something a little different, something a little softer, a little sweet with some of my favorite colors. So I drew a ton of different prints and developed the collection. And ultimately, it ended up getting printed, which was just, wow, I couldn't believe it. But yes, what I have coming next, it's always going to be soft and sweet, definitely feminine, a little bit faded feel, vintage. I just want to stay in that lane a little bit for a while. That's kind of my personal preference of my own decor. So I'm just trying to bring what I truly love out into the world as well. And fortunately, people love it too. So
What program do you use to design your fabrics, and what program do you use to design your patterns?
So I use the same thing. I use Adobe Illustrator. That's kind of what I used in school and how we would create a lot of architectural mock-ups and things like that. And so I already knew how to use it. So I just jumped in there to create the patterns, and I actually write the entire pattern in there. I don't put it into Word or Illustrator or into InDesign. I just keep everything in there so that I have all of the blocks, all of the diagrams, all of the text right there, and I don't have to link anything in. And then it just made sense for fabric design just to keep going with that program. I believe that's somewhat industry standard to use Adobe Illustrator. I know people use Photoshop or hand drawings, but that is what I use, and I love that program. It is so robust.
It is. How do you balance your quilty work life with your personal life, and how old is your son?
My husband's watching, so he's gonna be like, you're lying. So it is very hard. I'll be honest, it is very hard to balance both. That was my whole intention on coming home from the workforce, was to be able to be more involved. But as this business has grown, I miss a couple things here and there, which I don't love to do. But I do try to make sure I finish work by 5 p.m., go downstairs, have dinner with my family. If they've got other stuff going on, I'll go back upstairs. So it is a struggle. I think everybody with any kind of job can definitely relate that it's a struggle, being a mom and a wife. It's just very hard to do all of that. And what was that next question?
How old is your son?
Oh, my son will be 14 in June. So yes, he's a teenager.
Yeah, I have two 14-year-olds and a 13-year-old boys, so I get it.
Wow. Oh, yes. And I only have one, and it's chaotic as it is, so I can't even imagine.
What was your, out of all the quilts you showed, like, what is the most challenging type of quilt to design?
I would say anything that has like intricate flower work, it can be challenging, especially when I don't know why, but I just decide to have so many different size blocks. It can get kind of like, okay, what is this? Especially when writing the pattern. It's like, what was this one? And just making sure the math all works out. But definitely my floral quilts. I did have a little bit of fun with the twirl and twist quilt, just trying to make sure, okay, when I cut those on diagonal, do I have the right measurements? Are people going to get the same measurement? Just trying to make sure. But I tried to incorporate trimming down as much as possible. I know you like to do that, make something a little bigger and trim down, but yeah.
Do you garden at all?
So I do and don't. So because we've moved a ton, there have been times where I've went all out and just planted a ton of beautiful flowers, and then we moved. And so the last couple houses, I've had big dreams of planting a beautiful flower garden. And then I'm like, okay, let's just wait a year or two just to make sure we're staying here. And so I have a lot of plans for this home, but I don't have anything planted other than 2 little pots on my porch. So it's my dream. I wish I could just live in a field of flowers in a cute little cottage. So
yeah. Do you create your fabric first or your patterns first?
So for both of the fabric collections, I created the fabric first, and then I think only one time I had a pattern in mind, but it's so easy to kind of already have the fabric done. And then I know, okay, I have so many greens or yellows to work with. Let's do a flower, let's do something else. So I think mine definitely come after the fabric has been designed.
And so you have your first two collections. Do you have any hints for us on the third collection?
Oh, yes, yes. So the third collection, I'm going to try not to name it, debuts in July. So
Okay.
right now it's all turned in, everything's good. I'm just waiting on sample yardage to start making my quilts, but I'm in the process of designing quilts for that collection. And then my fourth fabric collection is due June 1st. So in between all of that, I'll be designing that one. And I've already got a really good idea on the colors and the designs for that one. I usually have like a log in my head of what I want to do down the line, and then I kind of put it in my notes on my phone just so I don't forget what I want to do. So yeah, I've got lots of ideas. Never running out of ideas here.
Your first two block of the months were the flower cart theme. Do you think you're going to continue that with your next collections?
So my goal is to have, like a picture quilt, like the flower stand in the flower shop with each collection as a block of the month. We'll see how it goes, see if it's receptive or not. And I already have the next one designed, so that's going to be a lot of fun, and the next one. But yes, I'm going to try to do one of those with everything. And it's probably always going to be flowers for the most part because I love flowers. I love making them, so.
Do you have any, like, what are your favorite notions to use in your sewing room? Like, what's your, you got to have?
Yeah, so I definitely have to have diagonal seam tape on my sewing machine. I don't have like a 1/4 inch foot or anything. I just changed that out. I love my pink rotary cutter. Gotta have that. Anything in here, I want it to be cute. And then I used Creative Grids rulers, and let's see, Arthil thread. And yeah, I'm pretty basic. I don't like to have a ton of different things. If I have to do a lot of prep work or have a bunch of tools for something, odds are I'm really not going to make it, or use it. And I just try not to buy a bunch of things that I really don't use or need. So right now I keep everything pretty basic. I have a couple of basic square rulers and one rectangle to do everything I do, some basic pens, everything basic.
Are you planning to do retreats or more quilt cruises?
So yes and no. So I had a lot of fun on the quilt cruise. I met some incredible women, just had a lot of fun. It's just getting harder and harder as the business grows and my time to just step away for things like that. But I would love to do some retreats. I think that would be so much fun, even if it's just me sewing with a bunch of other people. Like, that's just fine for me. So yes and no.
What type of batting do you use?
So whatever my quilter has and whatever they suggest, I mean, Gina, I don't know if you're watching, but I don't know what you use. You say this is what I usually use, and I'm like, perfect. I don't really have a preference. I just want to make sure that if I'm using a white background, like a Bella 200, that it is more white than cream. That's kind of my preference. And then I make sure I want everything to be like a cream or white thread. I don't want any color or anything like that. So I'm really easy. I just don't really have, and it might be because I just never tried something else or don't know, and I can't pinpoint a quilt and be like, Gina, what was this binding? That's what or batting. That's what I want. So yeah.
Do you wash your quilts?
I don't wash them. I've only washed 2 quilts, my son's bedspread and the quilt I take to every baseball game. Those are the only ones. I like to wash them and have them crinkle up, but on the ones I like to display in my home or on the back of the couch, I really don't wash them.
And how wide do you cut your binding?
2.5. 2.5.
Okay, so could you talk through just a little bit about I just wanted to show this. This is the template that's in her pattern. People are suggesting you develop a ruler for your curves, but just talk through the step. Like, do you quilt it first and then cut it? And,
yes.
Just give us some tips on your rounded corners.
So I have a template actually made here. Let me get it. So yes, the pattern comes with the template and you cut it out and you tape it in the middle where it says to overlap. So what I do is after I get the quilt back from the quilter, I lay this out, and the middle line here, I kind of line up as a diagonal with what it would be for the corner. And then I align the edges of this up. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I use a friction marker first before I cut anything. And I'm like, okay, does that look good? And then I will cut it off. So that's how I use it. Yeah.
And do you cut it with scissors?
I cut it with scissors, yes. So I don't, sometimes I'll pin this down and then cut around it, but I just don't want to like cut into this little paper template and have to reprint, retape. So I just do it with a friction marker, and then, you know, you're cutting on that line, so you don't have to worry about it. And then you're putting binding over it, so you won't see, even if you used a pencil or a regular marker. But as far as a ruler goes, I don't know if there's already, I know there's curved rulers. I don't know if it's this size or not, but I just found that like I just keep this handy and it works just fine, and I can pin it to anything, and just kind of, I never thought about developing something for it. So maybe one day.
Do you use that same size on all the quilts?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yep. I try to.
Let's see. Can you talk a little bit about the free motion quilting you do, and then did you teach yourself? How do you determine if you're going to send it to a long arm quilter or you're going to do it? Talk a little bit about that process.
Yes. So how I determine it is really how much time I have. So I used to, when I was just a pattern designer, I would release one pattern a month, and I knew when that quilt had to be done in order to make it to Gina or a quilter. And sometimes life got in the way and I just couldn't get it done. And so I would free motion it. So I actually learned how to free motion on my Juki from your YouTube channel when you had Gina Tell show us. So awesome. That's how I learned. Yeah, I did a whole quilt after she did that tutorial, a Christmas quilt, doing that, and I learned so much, and I'm so thankful for it. But I just have, I drop my feed dogs, and I have this like slippery mat that goes, it's kind of just like a static stick. Okay. And then I just have the free motion gloves, and I just go to town, and just making sure that you're moving your hands at the same speed as you're pressing, and just go around, and you only get better by doing. And so as I've gotten more done, I'm seeing more consistent stitches, and I'm doing a lot better. And then I try to work in some other designs with like a leaf or a flower, and it's just knowing where to go next. And sometimes I'm like, okay, this isn't really a leaf, but we're going with it. And, you know, just give yourself grace. At the end of the day, you probably could come up close and look at those and be like, oh, okay, they're not that great. But to me, they're just fine. And I'm so proud I was able to do it myself.
Would you recommend doing the hand embroidery on the flower stand before or after it's quilted, before or after it's pieced, before making the quilt sandwich, or does it just not matter when you do it?
So everybody will have a different answer, but the way I like to do it is I like to hand embroider all my words on one big piece, knowing that I can just cut out each one, so that if maybe I don't like it, because the last thing I want to do is have it quilted and I'm sitting there trying to use this big bulky quilt and trying to like come up and down with my stitches, and then what if I don't like it? Then I'm ripping it out. So I would recommend doing it before and then piecing your blocks right after, but you can do whatever you would like, but that's just what I would like to do.
And do you use, I know you use DMC. How many strands do you use? I know all of it's in the pattern. 2. Okay, 2.
Yes. So I'm actually also going to be having a tutorial, just simple hand embroidery for this, to show you how many strands, a needle, you know, do you want to use some interfacing or 2 layers of fabric? Just, you know, and then you can make that decision or practice it. But yes, 2.
And then the quilt that's behind you, they want to know if you know what color that is. I can't tell if it's a Bella Solid or not.
So that one, yeah. So that is a Bella Solid. This was actually in a Sew Sampler box at one point. It was with, I don't know how to say it, Chantilly, Joanna Figueroa's fabric line. I can't remember the exact pattern, but it had a white background, and I decided to use a like peachy pink and then a blue border or a blue binding. And this one, guys, I hand did the binding. Oh, this must be ancient. Yes, so that's what the quilt looks like.
What's your favorite part of like the whole process of making your quilts?
So I really like to make just the blocks. And then my second favorite is being able to put it all together. I really don't enjoy cutting. I don't enjoy pressing.
I love to do that.
I know. No, and I don't starch. So that question, there you go. I do not starch at all.
Okay.
I really, like I said, I like everything to be basic. And if I have to do an extra step, and you know what? The funny thing is if I starched, my points would probably be a lot better, but I'm so stubborn and I will not, I'm like, no, unless I'm going to have somebody do it for me, I'm just going to jump right in and start cutting. And so I tried it one time and I didn't mind it. It just was like, now I forgot to starch. So now I'm going to have to go do it. And I'm like, then I can't quilt. I just feel like there's such a barrier. But I know a lot of people do it and they get great results. But yes, I really, and then I actually love putting on borders as well. I know people don't love doing that, but I just go and pin it and just sew. And then I'm like, it's done. And then I don't enjoy binding, which is why I do machine binding. So it just gets done. So, yeah.
Did you follow a certain tutorial on machine binding? How did you learn how to do that?
I can't remember. I'm sure I did. Like everything I've learned, I feel like has been from YouTube, a tutorial, your live streams, your tutorials. So I'm sure I did, but I did it probably in 2019, the first quilt that I had done for Emotion. I was just all about like, let me learn new things. So yeah.
That's so funny. Everyone is saying they love your enthusiasm. They love your fabric. You're definitely inspiring them.
You. Thank you.
They love all your fabric. Can you tell everybody how to find your blog and all your social media channels?
Yes, so I am on Instagram and Facebook at My So Quilty Life. Yes, there you go. And then mysoquiltylife.com is where you can find my blog, shop, free patterns, new fabrics, like what is coming. So I can give like the description and show you lots of pretty pictures. That's where you can find me. And then I'm also on kind of like trying out YouTube a little bit with some tutorials. I just find that my thoughts and my desires are bigger than my time and what I can personally do myself. So I try to do some tutorials, but I want to get better at those. So I am on YouTube at My So Quilty Life as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I think all of our listeners loved seeing your stuff, and I think some people didn't know who you were. So I'm actually kind of quite surprised because you're all over social media. I love all of your things. You definitely inspire me. And I will be making lots of stuff with your stuff to show in future live streams. So y'all will continue to see her fabric. Make sure you comment below and let her know what your favorite designs are so she can kind of keep that in mind with future future designs. Obviously, I love all the daisies, all the flowers. You can find all of the paper patterns online, and some of the patterns are only available as PDF at Fat Quarter Shop. We will have your block of the month as a PDF online, and if it's not there right now, it will be, and you can also shop on her site also. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see all of you next week.